Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. So today's second video, which will take us to around the 22nd of October. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. Having at CFSV2 as usual for next month at the end of the video. Running quite late with the video today. Sorry about that. I had a busy afternoon. We did get weekend forecast up this morning mode for you. So that's your regular weekend look ahead on a Saturday to have a look at that. So weather's going to be doing in the next week. Of course, we will touch on that as well in this video also, but that's like a detailed look at weather for the coming week. I'll tell you through what's happening tomorrow at the end of the video, but let's get on with it then. I'm going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. So that disturbance area that we had yesterday has in fact become a named subtropical storm. So we have subtropical storm Melissa now quite a long way north in the Atlantic. So subtropical storm Melissa is giving maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 998 millibars, and it's moving east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Let's click on Melissa and see what she's going to do. So if we go there, we can see that at the moment, we have this post-tropical storm. No, it's not a post-tropical storm, it's a subtropical storm at the moment. And going to stay subtropical through the rest of today, I think. But by tomorrow, down to a post-tropical depression, an area of low pressure, basically. And that's moving out into the North Atlantic as we get through to the early part of next week. Doesn't look as though Melissa is going to impact any particularly populated areas. Just moving off into the Atlantic Ocean next couple of days. So these are the Penn State University 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts. We've got the, for the next week, 10 days, we've got the ECM on the top, and the GFS, which you'll have a look in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure, being moved around by jet stream running above. Red extrapolates to high pressure, blue to low pressure. So we can see signs of a change here actually as we're looking into the 7 to 10 day time frame. We have an area of above average heights sitting out to our west and southwest. We also have an area of above average heights across northeastern parts of Europe. In between, we do still have the legacy of the unsettled weather that we've got at the moment with a trough of low pressure, and the jet stream is doing something a little bit like that. But this is an indication that as we get towards the final week or so of October, we could be seeing signs of high pressure starting to become rather more influential. We see it also on the GFS as well. So GFS has this area below average heights in the North Atlantic, above average heights down to our southwest and also to our northeast. We flow a jet coming across the Atlantic rather like that. Up to around days 7, 8, 9, probably still quite unsettled with the GFS solution, but it is an indication that this trough of low pressure is beginning to weaken. The Atlantic is beginning to run out of a bit of steam, and I think we have got growing indications here that the final 10 days, probably more the final week of October, could be rather more anticyclonic. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks on in Manchester today. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Manchester. Close to average with the upper air temperatures at the moment, but it is relatively mild, particularly at night. With all cloud rain, of course. When skies are clear by night, it's a little bit cooler. More definitive drop in temperature there through the middle part of next week, and then probably as we look ahead to the final week of October, that period just there, we're seeing a bit of a warming trend in evidence. At the same time, precipitation anomalies looking very wet, certainly for the next few days. Gradually, by the end of next week, we're starting to turn a little bit drier, and it looks like this drying trend could continue into the last week of the month. There are still rainfall spikes going through. I mean, it is mid-autumn, so we can expect showery bursts of rain at times, but it looks as though, compared to the deluge that we've had in recent days and weeks since the final week of September, it looks as though things are turning a bit drier there, I have to say, with the final 10 days, week 10 days of October. At the same time, it looks like temperatures are lifting up too, which is all indicative of higher pressure returning as we get through to the latter stages of the month. Temperature anomalies from the 12th to 20th of October are very close to average, a little bit above England, Wales, a little bit below perhaps Scotland and Northern Ireland, not a big deviation at all. Precipitation anomalies from the 12th, 20th of October, rather wetter than average for the far south of England, a little bit drier than average for North East Scotland. Elsewhere near normal, these precipitation anomalies are gradually becoming less wet now as we're going through the days. So I think by the time we look at these next week, the next time we look at these will be on Monday, we may actually see drier than average precipitation anomalies for parts of the country. We shall see about that, but certainly these are trending rather drier as the days are going along. That's how the GFS is looking for Tuesday. This is all covered by Weekend Broadcast, of course. So on Tuesday, we've got showery rain in the south and the east with low pressure developing in the Atlantic. That brings us wet and windy weather, that low pressure, as we get through to Wednesday. Then Thursday and Friday, windy, showery days, strong westerly winds feeding in sunshine and showers. And we keep these showery conditions going into next weekend as well. As that low pressure begins to slip over towards the east of Scotland, we also start to pull down some cooler air, or even colder air from the north. So around this low pressure, it is turning a little bit cooler or colder. But very gradually, as we're moving up towards day 10, heights are rising. So this is how things are looking by day 10, which is Tuesday, 22nd of October. We've got some high pressure being developed to our south and also to our east. It's starting to push the jet stream and the areas of low pressure away from us up to the north. So this is looking like high pressure is beginning to start to take over. First time we've seen that since the third week of September. And then as we go through into a more extended range, we're looking like this. So for the north, still quite unsettled, never really settling down in the north. In the south, it does look a little bit drier under those ridges of high pressure. Although that's how we finish up, as far as we can go with the GFS run today, is to Monday the 28th of October. By that point, we're in a rather showery and pretty cool northwesterly wind. Excuse me. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, on Tuesday, rather showery in the south and the east, and then wet and windy as we go from Wednesday through to Thursday, then Thursday to Friday, sunshine and showers into weekend, staying showery and quite cool as well. Into the following week, this is Monday, 21st of October, still quite unsettled up to the north, a little bit drier down to the south. That's how we look at day 10, which is Tuesday, 22nd of October, in a still rather showery and pretty cool northwesterly wind. Heights are trying desperately to rise to our south, but this is still quite unsettled actually up to day 10 with the GEM. ECMWF looking like this, again, showery and unsettled on Tuesday, wet and windy on Wednesday, and then sunshine and showers for Thursday, for Friday, and indeed for Saturday too, with low pressure to the north of Scotland, bringing in these strong west to northwesterly winds, which will be quite cool winds, and plenty of showers being brought in with those northwesterlies as well. Into next weekend, so this is Sunday 20th of October, low pressure sitting over the top of the country, starting to pull down some quite chilly air from the north as well, with that area of low pressure. But by day 10, look, high pressure again is beginning to start to assert its authority. So there's definitely that idea within the model output now, the high pressure to begin to get involved by day 10 and possibly extending into the last week of October. We shall see about that, but definitely signs of a break in these very unsettled conditions. It may only be a temporary break, but definitely signs of a break in around 10 days' time. Let's have a look at the ECM ensemble, see how much support that idea has. So these are from the Icelandic Met Office. These are the options are on the table within the ECM ensembles today at day 10, which is the 22nd of October, of course. So we have 18 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure above average heights, which extrapolates high pressure, sitting over and to the east of the country. Below average heights are out to the northwest. And the jet stream being pushed off like that. So obviously that's a settling down scenario for day 10. That's becoming more influential with high pressure. Another 18 though are quite unsettled. Low pressure up to our north and high pressure down to the south. Still bringing in an influence from the Atlantic, still bringing in the jet stream. So particularly for northern areas, that's a much more unsettled scenario. Down in the south, it could be starting to settle a little bit. And then we've got another 15 just here, which does include the ECM control and operational run. The operational run is the run we were just looking at, of course, that are building up an area of above average heights from the southwest up to Scandinavia. Low pressure sitting to our southeast and also out to the Atlantic. That is also settling down by day 10 and bringing a fair amount of high pressure. So if we was to put the 18 that we have just there together with the 15 that we have just here, definitely looks as though the ECM ensembles are trending towards high pressure developing and building by day 10. We do have a more minority option just here. It is a minority, and it's a fairly significant minority that is more unsettled at day 10. 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This game is towards the end of October, of course, 27th of October. So 17 members of the ECM ensembles with above average heights over Scandinavia and trying to bring wind in from the east, but lots of low pressure in the Atlantic. So that's a bit of a battleground UK type situation, but probably increasingly unsettled from the west. 13 have above average heights out to our west-southwest. Lots of low pressure up to our north and bringing in a west-northwesterly flow. That could be a rather cool scenario, and for the north a little bit unsettled. 13 just here though, another 13, have a large area of high pressure sat right over the top of the country. And then there's another 8 down here that obviously are very unsettled below average heights through the north and west of Europe, including the UK. Jet stream is aligned northwest to southeast with that as well, so not only unsettled, also probably quite cool, maybe even, you would say, quite cold. So a lot of options there for 2 weeks' time. And what I would say is that it does look as though any sort of build of high pressure is probably going to be relatively short-lived. I think that is there within the ECM ensembles that by 2 weeks' time we are already showing significant signs of breaking that high pressure down and starting to turn unsettled again. But we shall see about that, of course. Finally, the CFS V2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period takes us from the 12th to the 18th of October, and the coming week is unsettled with below average heights to our northwest, bringing in west or southwesterly winds, so showers or longer spells of rain in the week ahead. But look at this, all change in week 2, very much in line with the shorter range model output now. This is the 19th to the 25th of October, and a ridge of high pressure then, above average heights. High pressure is extending in from the Atlantic and building to our east, below average heights up towards Greenland, Iceland. Jet stream's being pushed northwards as well, so that's turning things a good deal drier. Probably relatively mild, also maybe a little bit warm. Week 3 is still dominated by above average heights. This is the 26th of October to the 1st of November, with high pressure set to our east, low pressures away to the northwest, flow and the jets going something a little bit like that. So lots of dry weather involved with that. Again, probably relatively mild. Of course, under high pressure at the end of October, if skies are clear, it will get quite cold at night, and we do have to think about mist and fog patches as well. But that said, probably reasonably warm days as the winds are coming in from a south-southeasterly direction. And then finally, week 4 is the 2nd to the 8th of November. Looks like we're breaking the ridge down then. So no particular area of low pressure over the country, but you can see the way the above average heights kind of like slipping away to the northeast and down to the southwest. I suspect we are seeing a return of a jet stream here, and probably just breaking things down and turning things more unsettled through that first week of November. So I think we've got growing evidence here for high pressure to become more influential as we get to the final 10 days, and particularly the final sort of week of October. Been a very wet spell, so I think it will be quite a welcome break from this unsettled weather as we get into the last week or so of the month. Probably relatively mild as well. How long this high pressure lasts, I think there's quite a bit of doubt about that. It could only be a brief sort of break in the low pressure, and then by early November we may actually be finding ourselves back into unsettled conditions again. We'll have to wait and see about that. That's a long way off, but definitely growing signs of high pressure for the final week or so of October. I think that's the way we're trending at the moment. But of course, for the next week, it's staying unsettled. There's going to be a lot more rain to come. Could be localised flooding in places as well. If you want to know more about that, then check out the weekend forecast. Right, that's it for your videos for today. Tomorrow, we're going to have the 7th Winter 2019-2020 update. So we are over halfway through when we get that one out of the way. We'll be over halfway with Winter Update. It's going to be another real epic, I'm quite sure. So that'll be released at 10 a.m. Tomorrow morning. There'll be a live chat on YouTube between 5 and 6 o'clock. A live stream taking your questions about that Winter Update. And I made sure the Bayesian Climate Centre is back as well, because we didn't have the Bayesian Climate Centre long range model for last month's first seasonal model roundup, so you'll be able to catch up on what it was showing last month, perhaps in the live stream, and I might show you this month's update from the Bayesian Climate Centre as well for the winter during that live stream. We'll see how much time we have, but that's coming up between 5 and 6 o'clock on YouTube. I won't be streaming that live on GazWeatherVids.com. So if you want to see that, hear that, get involved with live chat, you will need to go to the GazWeatherVids YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make sure you click the bell notification icon, because that way you will be notified when we're live streaming and we're posting videos as well. So subscribe to YouTube for that. And also tomorrow there'll be the second written update for Christmas. Just a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh. See what CFS is showing for Christmas. That'll probably be around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So a busy old day of updates coming up tomorrow. Do keep checking back to all of them. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.